So, a huge tech company just announced a massive layoff, and they're blaming it on AI. And yeah, I know we're kind of getting used to hearing stories like this, but this time, something feels different. The scale of this is just huge. The reaction has been explosive, and it's forcing a conversation we really can't put off anymore. So let's really dig into what's going on here.
40%. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That's the staggering percentage of jobs that Jack Dorsey, the CEO of the tech company Block, just slashed from his workforce. It is, without a doubt, one of the single biggest percentage-based layoffs we've seen in tech in a long, long time.
And to be super clear, this isn't some small trim around the edges. We're talking about nearly half the company, 4,000 people. Dorsey's whole argument was, hey, let's just rip the Band-Aid off, get it all done in one fell swoop instead of the slow, painful drip of constant layoffs.
Okay, so here's the big question, right? Why? What's the justification? Well, Dorsey pointed his finger directly at the incredible new efficiencies being created by artificial intelligence. But almost as soon as the news dropped, people immediately started asking, is AI really the reason? Or is it just, a convenient excuse?
All right, so first up, let's look at the official story from Block. This is the narrative they want everyone to hear, that the company isn't in trouble, but that it's actually evolving at lightning speed, all thanks to a massive shift in technology.
In the memo he sent out to staff, Dorsey was really clear about this. He's basically saying this isn't about failing financials. In fact, he claims the business is strong. No, this is about a whole new reality. He's arguing that these new intelligence tools are just so powerful that they are completely rewriting the playbook on how you operate a company.
And look, this wasn't just some vague corporate talk. Block had already been developing its own internal AI agent, which they called Goose. It started out helping with coding, but it spread like wildfire. Think about it. Sales teams were analyzing leads in hours, not days. Project managers were cutting their admin time by a whopping 75%. These efficiency gains were very real, and they could measure them.
Okay, but that's just one side of the coin. The skepticism to this story was immediate, it was fierce, and it spawned this brand new term for what a lot of critics think is really going on. So let's talk about AI laundering. The basic idea is that companies are using the rise of AI as a smokescreen. It's a way to justify these really painful cuts that frankly probably needed to happen anyway because of other problems, like bad management or hiring way too many people without having to take all the blame.
A bond investor named Will Slaughter, well, he didn't mince words. He's basically saying, forget AI. This has almost nothing to do with that. In his view, this is all about cleaning up what he called an insane COVID overhiring binge. It's about past mistakes, not some futuristic tech.
And when you look at the numbers, that argument starts to look pretty compelling. I mean, check this out. Back in 2019, Block had about 3,900 employees. By 2022, that number had ballooned to 12,500. It more than tripled. So the critics are saying this huge cut isn't some big leap into an AI future. It's just a painful but necessary correction from that wild hiring spree.
So here's where we land. You've got these two competing stories. On one side, you have the official version. This is a forward-thinking, AI-powered move to get ahead. And on the other side, you have the skeptics, who say it's just a reactive move to clean up a mess, and AI is just the perfect PR shield.
So with these two totally different narratives out there, you gotta wonder, where did the money go? How did the financial markets, which, for a public company, are kind of the ultimate judge, react to all this?
Well, Wall Street's reaction? It was fast and it was loud. They absolutely loved it. Block stock shot up by more than 25% in overnight trading right after the announcement. For investors, hearing about cutting costs and focusing on efficiency was exactly what they wanted to hear.
But hold on, that huge 25% jump, it needs a little bit of context. Because while investors were cheering the cost-cutting for the short term, the bigger picture is, well, it's not so great. Even with that huge pop, the stock is still down big for the year, and it's an incredible 80% below its all-time high from back in 2021. So yeah, the market rewarded the cut, but the company's long-term health is still a huge question mark.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the rest of us? If we look beyond just Block, is this a sign of what's to come? I mean, is this the new normal?
For a lot of people, the answer is a big, flashing yes. Investor Balaji Srinivasan sees this as a clear signal for literally everyone in the tech world. The message is pretty blunt, right? Adapt to these new AI tools, get really, really good with them, or you risk being disrupted right out of a job.
But here's the thing.
what if just adapting isn't actually enough? A really sobering take came from inside Block, from an employee named Amanda. She pushed back on that idea, saying that basically everyone she knew there was already using AI. And her point is so important. Just knowing how to use AI might not save your job. The real trend is that teams are just getting leaner, period.
When you boil it all down, this whole story about Block, it's really just a symptom of something much, much bigger. We are in this massive collective recalibration. From the boardrooms to Wall Street to individual workers, everyone is just scrambling to figure out what happens when these incredibly powerful new tools become widely available all at the same time.
Look, this isn't just about some new piece of software. What we're seeing is a dramatic repricing of everything, of skills, of companies, of entire industries. And this process is going to be messy and chaotic. And that leaves us with the biggest question of all. As this new world gets built, who's going to be the one to pay the price?